Thanks.
Now we just opened the front of our ship, the bow. It's where you got aboard on the main deck. It's a nice viewing area. If you'd like to use it, come right on out. If you're on the upper deck, down any stairway and straight ahead, please, if you're coming out, shut the door behind you, and please don't sit on any big silver boxes. Otherwise, feel free to move about. We'll ask you not to block the view of anyone else for any great length of time. And since it's important for navigation, in the front cabin upstairs, the windowed areas around the stairway and up front, briefly only there for standing, please. Up on our left, the aircraft carrier number 11. This is a World War II carrier called the Intrepid. It's here as part of a big museum. On the flight deck inside the big silver tent is a space shuttle. The first one launched by our country back in 1977. First of 135 missions in the shuttle program. On the flight deck up forward on the carrier, about 50 aircraft representing different stages of military aviation. Now, the last active duty of this carrier is represented by a long yellow flotation device hanging over the near side of the carrier. It holds a Gemini space capsule. It holds a dark cone. 2 astronauts circled the globe in the capsule. In those early days of the program, they parachuted into the ocean. Recovery was done by helicopters off of number 11. And that was their last active duty. Now again, the bow in front is open on the main deck, and we'll be through the trip. Now we'll turn behind us very shortly and head downstream. But up ahead right, over the white piers, the passenger piers, the silver building, shaped like the sail of a vessel, is a brand new apartment house. And if we look all the way up river, the big George Washington Bridge is about 7 miles up ahead of us. The busiest bridge in our country. 500,000 folks used it on a typical day. Flight 1549 cleared the bridge, heading towards us. Cleared the bridge by 100 meters, 300 feet. Landed about right where we are now, headed the opposite direction. Back to this museum on our right, there is one more part of it. We'll see it as we clear the airplane in the water past the flagpoles. It will be a missile-carrying submarine. One of the missiles will be on deck. It's all the way in front by the shoreline. It'll look like a fat cigar angled upward a bit. And that's the Sea Airspace Museum, the submarine, the airplane, and the carrier. Now the white piers, the passenger piers here on our right. The second one up, behind it, the silver buildings in the background. They're square silver towers, white strips through the top floors. That's a replica, a 2/3 scale model of the Twin Towers. Now, the Twins are not going to be built again downtown, so a 2/3 scale model is up here, southwest corner of Central Park. We'll make a turn and head downriver. We're headed for the statue late in the trip. It's the point against the sky all the way down to our left. Far right, it's a little point against the sky with the tall silver building to its left, or to its right, I should say. That's the statue. We'll be there late in the trip. Now, as we complete our turn here, we're almost exactly on the spot and in the same direction where the airplane landed on the river in January 2009. Slender towers of Times Square just off the rear of the ship inland on our left-hand side. And one of our 140 towers works the rivers in the harbor beside us. Empire State is a big building with a tall tower. It'll be dressed tonight in the colors of the city of New York, white, orange, and blue. And that building, the observatory, is open until 2 in the morning. The top 30 floors are illuminated every night. And that building in 1931, Empire State was the world's tallest building. It held that title record 43 years. Now, there's orange and green structures at the water's edge up ahead on either side of us, and this is air ventilation for a tunnel. We're approaching the Lincoln Tunnel here, a big 6-lane highway blasted through the rock into the river. It delivers about 40 million vehicles a year. In Manhattan, Empire State in the background to its left. Now, New Jersey's going to stay on our right all the way past the statue. We help New Jersey comes up Bogan. It's Drake here, up ahead left-hand side. Now that is the place you do not want to visit. Pier 76 is operated by New York City's parking violations bureau. So your car gets towed away by the city in Manhattan. They bring it in there. Last year, 136,632 cars were hauled up our streets. That building helped to generate over $51 million revenue for the city last year. And in total, New York last year took in, for illegal parking, over $600 million for traffic violations. So thank you for driving. And behind it on the waterfront left, the black window building under renovation. That's the big convention center. 3.5 million folks attended conventions there last year. Now, as we clear it, up ahead left, we're going to come to the biggest construction job in our country's history. A project called the Hudson Yards is a year and a half into its 14-year construction program. The cost is estimated at $25 billion US. Now, one reason it's going to be a big success, and already is the High Line, the elevated railway line. You can see it at the treetop level. It runs up and down the city. On the west side here, it's revitalized everything. The railways don't use it anymore. It's a nice place to stroll about the city. Now this river, the Hudson River, first appeared on maps almost 500 years ago under the name Columbia River. Named in honor of Christopher Columbus, and it was named by an Italian explorer, Giovanni de Verrazzano. We have a thick bridge in the harbor ahead. The Verrazzano Bridge is named for him. His visit here simply changed everything. When he arrived, his job was to chart the coastline of a brand new world. And rivers like this are out of bounds. And amongst the many stories he heard from local folks, one really intrigued him. He was told over and over that this river never runs out of salt. Now that's true. Somebody's got to come here because it's not a river. If it doesn't run out of salt, it's a quick route to the Orient from Europe. The Pacific Ocean right around the corner behind us. This then is a natural salty thing. Henry Hudson is going to bring a ship. He will prove that theory. He's going to remain the quite a surprise. We'll talk about that downstream. Building with a long red stripe coming up on the waterfront left, that's where the post office sorts all the mail from Manhattan. Trucks on the rooftop driving around to the post offices. Next to it is a new apartment building worth mentioning because it's changing things. Rectangular building trimmed in silver with the dark windows behind the pier on the left. Brand new apartment house opened is the first building in New York City with an elevator for your automobile. A parking spot behind every apartment on every floor. Prices in that building are triple the normal Manhattan prices. Sold out fast. That? In the background left, in the center of Manhattan, all of the tall buildings are on Madison Square, named for the fourth president of our country, James Madison. Now, back in the year 1890, the city of New York built its first big sports arena, and we simply told you where to find it. Madison Square Garden. It's the gold triangle rooftop, sunlight on the tip of it. If you haven't spotted it, go to the blue piers to be good. The low portion just in front of the apartment house, right behind it. That's the garden. It stood there on the square for about 30 years, and then we moved it away from Madison Square to bigger quarters. We simply never changed that old name. On our left, here are the Chelsea piers, and Chelsea's very typical. It used to be a separate city. Shipping, that's not the big business there anymore. Sporting venues are. We don't see the basketball, tennis, hockey, or the swimming. Here comes the golf driving range. Hitting the golf ball on an old pier, hanging wire to our left. No room to spread out, so they go up. There are 4 levels of play, one on top of the other. We've got a fireboat station coming up ahead on the left. We'll see as we approach the red and white fireboat by the crane.
Fuck down. Thanks.
On our left was a commuter boat passing with a flat front. In a rescue operation, we're too big to pick up people. We're an equipment boat. Little boats like that do the job. Another one coming up on our right. They were alongside the airplane in the water about 30 seconds after it landed. Now that's Fireboat 343, the red and white fireboat at the dock right there on our left. This city of ours has almost 580 miles of coastline and boats like pirates in the water's edge. That's not only the world's newest fireboat, it's the biggest and the fastest, and it can pump about 50,000 gallons of water a minute out of a sinking vessel. Now in a rescue, boats like that are critical. Fireboat 343, for example. Airplanes and Flight 1549 that landed on the river, airplanes are not designed to be here. Without some help, they will sink quickly. Flight 1549 is designed, for example, to last 30 seconds. That's it. For the sink. It never went down. Pumping from a fireboat might be critical, and that we'll talk about that a bit later. One thing we talked about earlier, the windows up front do not block the view of the crew. Please keep the windows clear.
Complete idiots.
Greenwich Village, on our left-hand side. Now, the city of Greenwich, that's what it was, separate city. Absorbed into New York in the year 1830, and New York promptly did there what it will do anywhere, just get rid of the hills. Now we don't see a single hill, they're gone. Originally on Manhattan there were hundreds of them, and in the village you can always tell where they used to be. Anytime you have a street that does not go straight, it winds around a bit, winds around the old hills. Are they gone? And the village is the recipient of the first big tourism in town. It came from this waterfront place up here on our right-hand side called the Erie Lackawanna Transport Terminal. It opened back in 1907. When it did, it was the first transportation of any kind to the west of the Manhattan Island. There wasn't even an airport here then. Boats would leave there every 30 minutes around the clock, and in 1907 the price was 1 cent, penny a person. So hundreds of thousands of people every month made that ride. Henry Hudson's ride, that was a surprise. This river will fool you. We're not on the longest river on earth. We are, however, on the most unusual. If we turn the ship around for the next 100 miles behind us, you're still in salt water. In other words, the river doesn't rise above sea level for almost 110 miles from the harbor behind us, and then you've got a problem. You've got another 200 miles of fresh water to go. This is a long, unusual river. It's not going to go to the Orient. Hudson promised success. He's got absolutely nothing. And his trip wound up a big success. He returned, and Hudson told the Dutch, for New York, your fortune is much closer than the Orient, and I bring you proof.
Sir, I'm sorry, Captain just told me. He's got a seat.
From this island of Manhattan, he brought back plentiful supplies of fur, beautiful pelts of beaver, otter, mink, and fox. Inexpensively obtained and really good quality. The Dutch settled here in Lower Manhattan, their town of New Amsterdam, shipping fur around the world, undercutting the market prices, doing very well.
It works.
Now these light round structures out over the water on either side. This is air ventilation for a tunnel. We're about to ride over a national landmark in this country, the world's first underwater auto tunnel. A Holland tunnel of 1927 changed transportation. Carbon monoxide is not going to kill you. You're going to be able to survive it. Riding through the rock under a body of water made everything faster and cheaper. And the tunnel is not named for the country. It's named for the guys who designed the system, because this technology will be used around the world after that. Clifford Holland, civil engineer, 1927. Now we're approaching World Trade. We're going to pass in front of the center twice. First time left side of the ship, we'll talk more about what happened. On the way back up, more about what is happening. We'll see you just up ahead. World Trade is next. Now, originally at World Trade, there were 7 buildings. Most of us know about the 2 big ones struck by aircraft, Towers 1 and 2. Here comes the rebuilding of Tower 1 with the antenna on top. Now, that building stands on the original waterfront. Everything this side of it used to be the river. It is landfill. It's not World Trade. It's built later around it. Also, the big tower is not on the original location. Nothing is going to be built there. Where Towers 1 and 2 stood, 2,977 people were killed. So you're not going to have a building there at all. This is pushed northward to the left of the original. And ground zero will come into view after we clear the white canopy. Now we're down the street to the left of the white canopy, the big tower number 1. Up the left wall, the left side, about halfway up across the street in the background, the silver square tower strip of shadow down the right side. That's tower number 7 of World Trade. That's rebuilt on its original location. 52 floors, no one died there. So here comes ground zero as you clear the canopy. It's over the waterfront buildings, just past the white canopy. So the original, tower number 1, stood in the open space behind the curving glass building. Black building in the background, just to the right of the new tower. And its twin, Tower 2, stood to the right of that and stood directly in front of Tower 4. Tower 4 is the last building in line. Rectangular, light silver building, glass front, angled, darker top. Construction to its left. At Tower 4, just like its original, Tower 4 is 72 floors. You never would have seen it. Blocked from your view completely by Tower 2, which stood in front of it. Just an open space now. That's Tower 3 under construction. We'll talk about what's going on over there as we come back up by later on. Now, as we come towards the end of Manhattan Island here on our left, here's the original size of the city of New York, where the red brick buildings began on the waterfront and just ahead of us, that little section of Manhattan. The year is 1783, the revolution is over, and we're a little town of 12,000 people in lower Manhattan. That was it. We'll leave the river at this clock on the waterfront right, which is an old landmark, been here since 1924, and it can be a little bit bumpier in the harbor. So just a reminder to keep your feet on the deck and walk and not run, please. Up ahead of us on the waterfront right is a red brick building with a clock tower in the center. That is not Ellis Island, but because of it, you've heard of Ellis. Coming up on the right is the Central Jersey Transport Terminal. It opened back in 1889 as the biggest transportation terminal of North America. 450 departures a day. Fastest, cheapest transportation anywhere. That's what brings you here. Transportation, not New York. Most immigrants coming into any port, they're not sticking around. They're going somewhere else. You provide the transport, they come to you. In our case, that's 80%, 4 out of 5. The 11 million folks leaving Alice, 80% never set foot in town at all, no interest. They're coming to this place on the right. They came at the rate of over 50,000 people every day. Decade after decade. Shut down now here at Liberty State Park in New Jersey. That is Ellis Island up on the right with a water tank. The statue is pretty obvious. We're going to go out there a bit later in the up front. We're turning in your direction. Yes, thank you. Keep it quick. Now the cargo port in New Jersey, Bayonne, New Jersey is out there between Ellis and Liberty, and again we're going to go right alongside those islands later in the trip. Staten Island over there on the right-hand side. Now that is the most rural part of our city. No subway connection with the rest of us. And then the big Verrazano Bridge up ahead on the right, on the way out to the Atlantic Ocean. Brooklyn to the left of the bridge, Staten Island to the right. That's where we're headed. The big buildings of downtown Brooklyn are up ahead on our left-hand side in the sunlight. And that's where we're headed right now. On our left, we're alongside the Battery. The guns are long gone. They're in the trees. And the pointed green roof clock tower over there on our left is an old 1800s Fearless-style restaurant. And the white tent over there on our left-hand side, that's the stop at Alice and Liberty. The little fortress behind it, old 1800s fortress, with brick. That was the immigration hall in this country. That Ellis Island over for immigration in 1892. Immigration over there finding too many people, too little security, everything moved to Alice. Again, we'll talk about that a bit later. Up ahead on the Battery here on the left, the double-row light-colored. There's an island ahead of us here in the harbor called Governor's Island. This was a private preserve for Dutch governors in the early days. Been a big military base for much of our nation's history. Old fortress, early 1800s fortress. Up ahead on the right here, round red brick old building on Governor's Island. Old harbor defense. Now back over on Manhattan Island here on the left-hand side. The double row of light-colored square markers. Over the leftmost of them and over the trees is a little building with a narrow, pale green rooftop. Down that rooftop is our Canyon of Heroes. In other words, between the two green rooftop buildings, midships left over the trees, the narrow vertical open sky is the parade route in Lower Broadway called the Canyon of Heroes. Chrysler Building in the background up in Midtown. That's where we're headed. Now we'll round the bend with Brooklyn ahead of us, and the white building up ahead right on Governor's, that is now a fortress. Air ventilation for the Brooklyn Battery Underwater Auto Tunnel, longest one here in North America, 3.7 miles under the harbor from out of Brooklyn. Now we'll enter the East River up ahead of the Staten Island Ferry, the big orange ferry terminal on our left-hand side. Those boats take 30 minutes to get to Staten Island, and they're free. If you took it the very first year, in 1810, it was a rowboat service, a 2-hour open rowboat ride for 18 cents each way. It was easier now. Now, let's go back to the end of the Revolution again. It's 1790. This country is 7 years old. We're a little town in Lower Manhattan. We want to show you we're going to be big. On the waterfront, we built the first official skyscraper, which is why it still stands. Midships left on the waterfront, the little 3-story red brick building with a white trim is from 1790. A 3-floor building, triple the height of any you'd ever seen in town. So that was the first skyscraper here. Next to the silver curving office building, looks like a lighthouse. And so we'll swing into this East River now. Now the cargo port in Brooklyn over used to extend all the way up to the bridge, building a new public park. Brooklyn, if it remained a city on its own, will be the 4th largest city in this country. These are the most populous part of town. Brooklyn is on the western coast of the biggest island, and was founded Long Island. You could drive another 131 miles out east to the state of New York. And Queens, which is up ahead of us, also is on Long Island. So there's only one part of our city on the mainland of our country. That's the Bronx. Downtown Halifax, we do about 140,000 takeoffs and landings in our choppers here in Manhattan. Now the Brooklyn Bridge up ahead of us is a very good example of how things have grown everywhere. That bridge opened back in 1883, then called the 8th wonder of the world, this enormous size. The towers of the bridge in 1883, that's the highest man-made structure ever put up in North America. The length of the bridge, that's what dazzled people. That bridge was twice as wide as any you've ever seen. It's the first big use of a brand new material called steel. Now, before the bridge, you're not going to put a bridge across the water as wide as this river. That was just too heavy. It's going to fall. A brand new metal, light, strong. It held up. When it did, steel was perfect. It holds weight. Beams and buildings, everything got bigger. The Brooklyn Bridge was the first, 1883. Up in Midtown, we're coming alongside the Empire State Building. Here's the original design of Empire. To our left here is cranes on the building on the waterfront. Got some restaurant lights down low. Just behind it is a slender brown tower with a spinning spire lighted on top. That's the original design of the Empire State Building. Now the Empire State Building, which we can see up in Midtown, doesn't look like that at all. This is a copy of what they meant to build and never did. But we'll stop that screen a bit. Now we're approaching the South Street Seaport up on our left-hand side. Now the seaport of 1880 stretched for almost 4 miles on the waterfront. In Vietnam, about 3/4 of all trade in the country was made at the big money maker for the nation. There was no income tax in those days. Shipboard duties only, 3/4 of them coming in right here. And the shops and the restaurants that do this booth here that be constructed now and open next year. Up to the left of the Brooklyn Bridge, the golden statue on the column, the wide white colored building. That's our city office building, every office except for that is there. And here in Brooklyn on the right, the Watchtower building on the right. That was sold a couple of months ago at $700 million. Now the seller, Jehovah's Witnesses, is the biggest landowner in Brooklyn. They have another $1 billion of real estate to sell. And the cream-colored lighthouse coming up on the waterfront right, that is not, it never was, a lighthouse. It is simply built to grab your attention. Ticket office, 1814. Robert Fulton had a new idea. Steamboat. Boat that's going to move without sails. Radical idea, that was his ticket office. Built like a lighthouse. And the black bottom barge up here with the lights on the right is one of over 24,000 restaurants in town. Last year, people spent over $30 billion dining out in the restaurants. Brooklyn Bridge above us is the only bridge in Brooklyn with no subways, built too soon, 21 with the subway system. Now from here to Midtown, most every waterfront building on the left is some form of reduced price housing, taking place of the old factories that are going now. And the curving red building in the background, left up ahead, that's the center of Chinatown, the fastest growing part of our city. Bridge up ahead of us is called the Manhattan Bridge, coming into Manhattan where the canal was built across the island in the 1800s. Canal Street today. And the carousel for the families under glass in the park here on the right. That's one of the few ways you might know. The buildings behind them are not factories anymore. They're being converted to housing. Just like Soho, some of the houses in Manhattan converted. And this is called Dumbo. Down under Manhattan Bridge overpass. And that work so it's going to get worse. When we clear the bridge, they're building what they plan to call Rambo in Brooklyn. Right after Manhattan Bridge overpass. Manhattan on our left is one of the very small counties of our nation. We're 22.5 square miles. Right now, we should have about 2 million people on the island. Tomorrow, 5 million. 3 million come into work every day and then turn around and leave. Now, when they leave, rush hour in the afternoon is a dangerous time for traffic. It's a good time to remember something. The people who live in New York seem to consider a red traffic light to be a suggestion. It appears to me that you folks like to stop here. Now, pedestrians violate this all the time. Their lives are in your hands if you drive it. It's much more dangerous at rush hour. Cars, for no reason. A car will run right through a red light. Well, there is a reason. They're trying to beat the traffic off the island, so be careful. And that is the Williamsburg Bridge. Up ahead, that's the third, the last of the bridges between Brooklyn and Manhattan. The sequence BMW, Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Williamsburg Bridge. And we're alongside now, on our right, one of the 7 electrical power plants in town. We'll see as we clear it, we're down to Midtown on the East River. Now on our right is a quiet open bay. In World War II, that was the busiest place in our country. Brooklyn Navy Yard, building and repairing military ships. 75,000 people worked the yard round the clock. In those days, they built and repaired over 5,400 ships in 4 years. Open for business, the yard did to build a steamboat for Robert Fulton. That's why it's hot now. Little amphitheater on the waterfront left. That is the eastern tip of Manhattan Island. That's as far as you go. That line is about 2.5 miles from the Hudson River. That is double the average width of Manhattan. So here on the left is a part of town we call Alphabet City. And it gets its name in the geography. Normally on this river, First Avenue is on the East River, but not here. Only here it's inland. Only here you have to go through avenues A, B, C, D to get there. So Alphabet City. We can see Midtown around the corner. This is the Williamsburg Bridge coming up. The sequence pretty simple again. BMW. We'll see on the other side of the Williamsburg. We're bound to the United Nations in Midtown. Now, 100 years ago, the waterfront on either side of us was lined with factories. This is a big industrial town. The last of the factories is coming down on the waterfront right up ahead, just past the bridge. The main building is still standing. That building opened for business in 1837, processing then raw cane sugar from Cuba and the Dominican Republic. By the late 1800s, if you bought a pound of sugar anywhere in this country, chances are 7 out of 10 it was processed right over there. Making way for housing now. Now we're headed up to the United Nations. It's not brightly lit, it's on the waterfront. We'll see if we can point it out for you. A few miles up ahead left, about 45 degrees out. Bright flashing light on the red, white, and blue top building. To its right and nearer to us is a black building. Then in front of that is the UN. Strip of unlit square light-colored marble with dark windows. That's the tall building. That's the UN. Now up ahead left, to the left of the United Nations, the square tall tower with the bands of light color through them. That's a brand new apartment house, just opened. It's a building taller than the Empire State Building. In fact, it's the tallest apartment house in this hemisphere. And 2 years ago, sight unseen, the top 2-floor penthouse sold at $95 million. Whoever bought it lives higher above the ground than we do, but they just got some bad news. That's not going to last very long. The new apartment building is broken down, taller than they are. They have 18 upstairs. Over Chrysler's silver metal tower. It's about 50 degrees out to our left, lighted with the flat rooftop to its left, a neon sign under the top of the flat dark rooftop. If we go to the left of that building, we just see the top of the floodlit light brownish building. Little neon, excuse me, little neon sign up there. Light colored floodlit building is 30 Rockefeller Center, right across from the skating rink. Top of the Rock Observatory up there. Empire State, pretty obvious through the stacks of the power plant. Madison Square down low to its left. Times Square with a slanted rooftop of one of the towers up past Empire. We'll see at the 14th Street power plant with the stacks coming up. We're on our way to the Midtown area and the United Nations. After that, the Statue of Liberty. Now as it comes to 14th Street, the power plant comes straight through 14th Street. Square building to its left in the background, angling upward is our electrical power company headquarters. Please stay clear of the windows. We've got to see out. Thank you.
No pueden quedarse ahí, tienen que moverse, lo siento. No.
Now we're approaching the last of the big buildings in Brooklyn up here on our right-hand side. There's going to be a little waterway up ahead of us, and in Brooklyn, and then Queens begins. And if Queens is a city on its own, that would be the 5th largest city of our country. Brooklyn would be 4, Queens would be number 5. Now the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building were built at exactly the same time, 1928 to 1931. If we were to ask you who paid for the Chrysler Building, that's pretty simple. Chrysler. Empire is not so easy. The Empire State Building carries the name of the people of the state of New York, but it's financed by General Motors, the maker of automobiles. In 1928, a gentleman from General Motors arrived in New York and announced that he was standing on the deepest piece of rock anywhere under a city, and he was going to prove it by building the tallest building in the world and naming it for the people of New York State, Empire State. He said no one could build a building as tall as he. Now the building he showed us, the design, is not what we're looking at now. It was an 80-floor building, no metal top. He said no one could build a building that tall, and by the way, General Motors is not going to pay for it, you are. They're going to form a company called Empire State Corporation in order to build the building. And if you buy shares in the corporation, you are guaranteed to be buying into the world's tallest building. He said if anyone could go 80 floors, he would simply build his building taller. Well, 4 years before that, in 1924, this man had fired another executive from General Motors, a guy by the name of Walter Chrysler, who started his own auto company and did very well. Mr. Chrysler challenges General Motors. He's going to build a building here at the same time. That's a crazy idea. He's got no shot. The rock under his building is not nearly as deep as the rock under Empire. Mr. Chrysler has an idea. He's going to bankrupt the Empire State Building and make them look silly as General Motors. He's going to be the first guy in the world to use metal on the outside wall of a building. Now that made it the most expensive building on earth, and one unlike you've ever seen before, but that was the key. The wall of a building does not hold it up. Beams inside the building do that. Use whatever you want. No one used anything but stone or brick in those days. Very inexpensive and very heavy. Mr. Christ's metal shocked everyone. Empire has to redesign the building, and they do him a favor. The guy at General Motors takes another year and a half to raise all that money, and then he's going to put metal on the top of a 102-floor building that doesn't look anything like he had planned originally, but it gives him the title, the world's tallest building. This building is going bankrupt. Mr. Chrysler built the empty state building in the city of New York had a good reason to buy Chrysler. Don't get into something that's not going to last. We'll talk about how Empire was saved later on in the trip because it didn't go bankrupt. Right now we've come alongside Queens and apartment houses on the waterfront here in Queens. Now the UN, the United Nations, is about 60 degrees up to our left. The big square green glass tower facing the water, but we'll talk about it when we're alongside it. Again, we're clearing 34th Street, where Empire is located, heading to 42nd, right across from our pier, with the Chrysler Building and the UN are located. We'll see you up ahead. On the window shouldn't have this one. He's going to turn his head. See out. Thank you. We're now right across from the UN. We're going to be closer to it, so we'll talk about that when we do. Building with a red, white, and blue top up ahead on our left, that is an office building over on 3rd Avenue. Slanted rooftop up ahead left. That's Citicorp, the banking company, roof originally for solar heating. Now, we'll not go as far as the bridge ahead of us, the 59th Street Bridge, the one Paul Simon wrote a song about, and that serves as mile 16 of the marathon, where the runners are in Manhattan for the first time every November. Up ahead right is the world's first use of neon, the Pepsi-Cola sign, a neon sign from the year 1937. That's a landmark. It's not going anywhere, even if it blocks the view of people behind it. That is a landmark from the first neon sign on Earth. Neons around the world now, but the first place to really catch on the tower was Times Square. Times Square in New York City. By late 1937, they got rid of the electric light bulbs, and you could see neon up close there, the only place in the world you could. And these days, it's the law. If you have a building in Times Square, you've got to have a lighted sign. And the buildings on Times Square make more money with the signs on the outside than they do with office space inside. So that's what's safer. Now we're going to make a turn, and that's about to shift over on the right side of our vessel.
Ah non, vas-y, tu prends plus là. Poussez-vous.
As we make our turn, there's an island here on the right. This place is called Roosevelt Island. We're looking at a public park here, shaped like the front of a ship. There are about 14,000 people live here on Roosevelt Island in the middle of the river. Now we're coming up towards the UN. The United Nations is on the waterfront only. Up ahead here on the right-hand side. The buildings in the background are not UN buildings. The biggest UN building is the one with the square white marble siding and the green face the water. That's called the Secretariat of the Office Tower. And in front of it, above the roadway here, the building with a strip of green windows that houses the Security Council. Now, when the United Nations opened here in 1950, 51 nations were members, 193 of them now. We're still using the same General Assembly building, curving outside wall of Indiana limestone and a big silver dome. Now again, the buildings behind it are not UN buildings, just on the waterfront. Now man, that was going to be on our right-hand side for the rest of the trip. This small island in the middle of the river on the right, this is a man-made island. Never been used before. The subways are right beneath us. If you got a problem and the subways are stalled into the river, just walk up the ladder to this little island boat to come and pick you up.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now back to Mr. Chrysler's battle with General Motors or Empire State. The Empire State Building, they were going bankrupt. Mr. Chrysler was having a field day selling cars. Don't invest in something that's not going to last. You invested in the Empire State Corporation, now it's going broke. The only thing that saved the Empire State Building from the bankruptcy, in a desperate measure, they opened an observatory up on the top floors, which were empty anyway. You think somebody would pay some money to see New York from up high? Well, you sure would. That's what saved it. Year after year, the observatory at Empire State brings in more money than all office space combined, so they survive very nicely. And these days, buildings are made with glass walls. That's a new apartment house with the stripping white lights over on the right-hand side. Mr. Chrysler, the first one to use a wall of anything with stone or brick. Now as we come down along the waterfront here on Manhattan side, most of the buildings on the waterfront are hospitals. Matter of fact, there's a big white tent that's not illuminated, but it's off the front of the ship on the right near the waterfront. And behind it, the smallest of the buildings is a little brick building. That is Bellevue Hospital. That's the oldest hospital in North America. First operation in that building literally in the year 1736. Now, as we come back to that white canopy in the waterfront on the right, the old garden's going to pop into view in a moment, the big gold-lighted triangle rooftop. Now, Madison Square Garden in 1890 got its name not only from the location on the square, but from the rooftop, but not the big triangle. That was put on later by the company that bought the building when the garden was gone. But the garden on Madison Square had a very distinctive wide, flat rooftop that hung over the edge of the building. And a beautiful garden was planted around the edge of the rooftop. You can see the garden from the streets below. And the reason was simple. There's no air conditioning. It's a hot night. You're not going to be inside. Up in the garden. Get a breath of air. Boxing matches, for example. Now we'll come to the marina at 23rd Street, just ahead here on the right-hand side. Just this side of it, the small building with a white bubble on the rooftop. That is the International School of the United Nations. Now, it's 1 mile from the UN, but that's their school. 142 different countries have their kids going to school there right now. And we've left Queens and we're alongside Brooklyn here on the left. Now, we are headed for the harbor and the Statue of Liberty. And again, we're going to pass directly in front of the statue. First on the right side of our ship and then on the left side. Now from here to the bridge on the waterfront, right, almost every building is identical except for the power plant. There's smaller buildings with squares on the top. Now, whenever you see a building that looks like that, you know two things about that particular building. That is an older building. And the rock under it is not stable enough to replace it with something newer. The squares on the top are the water tanks. Now, this city has over 14,000 visible water tanks on the rooftops of our town. We call them standpipes. They're a law here. They've been a law since 1885. In the year 1885, the Brooklyn Bridge went up, and in those days, the tallest building in our city was 6 floors in height. And the cheapest place to live in any building was the top floor, facing the rear. There was no indoor plumbing, heating, or lighting. And the little buildings, the hallways are dark at the nighttime. It's cold in the wintertime out there. It's hot in the summertime. And in 1885, the Brooklyn Bridge had been up for 2 years, and New York finally convinced developers to build a bigger building using steel, like the Brooklyn Bridge, using steel beams. They could replace wood. They'd be more expensive, but you wouldn't have to replace them. You could build a bigger building. And now, they want you to charge more for the top floors than the lower floors. They have elevators, there's indoor plumbing, heating, and lighting. We forgot about something. Fire. How in the world am I going to stop a fire when I can't even get a hose up there? No one's going to want to live up there. So the standpipe law was passed, and it simply says that your building must maintain on the rooftop a minimum of 10,000 gallons of water, insulated against freezing in the wintertime, and visible to the public. Now, 2 tanks still up ahead right are visible to the public. That worked very well. And so finally, decades later, we had an amendment to the law, and you can tell these buildings were built before the amendment of 1947. You do not have to show the tank to the public anymore. You just have it, but you don't have to show it. Now, these old buildings were obviously, all of them, built before you had to hide the tanks. These days, for example, Tower Number 1 of World tanks in the system, these days you hide the tank in the architecture. But these buildings have simply squared up the top or covered the tanks so the building looks more modern. You can't replace them because the rock here is not heavy enough to get a heavier building. So they're still here. But that's the Williamsburg Bridge ahead of us. Subway going over to Brooklyn. Now there are 21 bridges that have been added up from the outside world with no exception. The weight of every bridge is held on the tower of the bridge. With one exception, and this bridge ahead of us is not it. With one exception, the towers are made of steel. It's light, it's strong, it's easy to put up, and holds weight. It's going to be a bridge around the corner, different from all the others. We'll talk about that when we get there. Williamsburg Bridge ahead, we're heading for Alphabet City. We're heading to the wild part of the island of Manhattan. And we'll see you up ahead. is the Manhattan Bridge ahead of us. Brooklyn Bridge, the second one ahead. The Brooklyn Bridge is different from all the others. The towers are made of stone. Now, the Brooklyn Bridge is by far the oldest bridge here. You're not going to hold it up with a brand new metal. You're going to use the traditional stone. Now, it took over 10 years to build the towers of the Brooklyn Bridge. And the city of New York says that if the bridge were to be built today, as we see it, the estimated cost of the Brooklyn Bridge is $381 billion. That's crazy. $15.5 billion was unthinkable for New York. They had to find a way to build the bridge and not pay for it, because if it fell down, the city couldn't afford it. So they formed a company called New York and Brooklyn Bridge Company to build the bridge. And if you invest in the company, you know exactly what you're investing in. That bridge and your stock, the company will last for a year to the day after the bridge has opened. After that, the company is dissolved, and you have a month to turn your shares into Brooklyn or New York, separate cities at the time. They will take over ownership. You know who's going to own the bridge if it holds up. If it falls in the first year, the city of New York loses nothing. You do, the investors. If it holds up, New York is going to pay for the bridge with a toll on the bridge. A penny to walk, 5 pennies for the carriage. New York thought they had a deal. At the end of the year, and the bridge was up, and the people had paid for it, New York tried to warn the public. It's too late to try to buy the Brooklyn Bridge. The company doesn't even exist anymore. New York now owns the bridge. But all of a sudden, the price of the bridge came down. I'll see you on the bridge today. Listen, I got a deal. You can buy the entire bridge from me right now. It's cheap, and here's the ownership certificate. Here's how you get your money back tonight. Go to the toll collector, show him the ownership. You own the bridge. Take the money and go. Do that every night. We had to protect the toll collectors with police to guard them. There's just too many people who bought the bridge every day. They fell for it. It was a scam. That's how it began. Now, as we approach the Brooklyn Bridge, the golden triangle rooftop here on the right is our federal courthouse. And we'll see you on the other side of the towers of the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, as we head out towards the harbor, and that's where we're headed, on the main deck where you got aboard, we've had some complaints about the low volume. It's not the volume, it's the people. Again, please do talk softly now on the main deck. It does disturb other folks. Now we're coming to construction here at the seaport here on the right hand side. Line of airplanes you might see up on our left headed over to LaGuardia Airport. Here is the seaport on a typical day in the seaport in the 1880s. You would have about 1,000 ships there. 600 little ones to take the goods off the bigger 400 and carry them to the shallower waters. Now we're coming to that windowed, lighted building off the front of the ship, right? Fluorescent lights down low. As you clear it, or to the left of it, is the site of the Dutch Wall of Defense that we call Wall Street today. Streets downtown named for their history. In the year 1653, New Amsterdam built themselves a defense, a double wooden wall. Now you might see the white-tipped lights on the street. That's the marker for the wall, the height of the wall, a double 10-foot wall. The wall was the only defense the city had. They had absolutely no other military. And the wall was made of wood. You could burn it, just walk through. Something's got to be done. The city needs a defense. It will come from Great Britain, not the Netherlands. A surprise. The British make a deal with the city, not the Netherlands. We're going to supply the defense. Give us some land in Lower Manhattan. We're going to build a fortress. We're going to station hundreds of soldiers. We'll be able to defend the entrance and the exit to the Atlantic Ocean. So Battery Park is the area of the British defense. They controlled the entrance to the Hudson River, and British influence grew. Eventually, the brother of the King of Great Britain will arrive to supervise British interests. His title, the Duke of York, and so New York like front on pretty much as it has before. Now we'll leave the river here and enter the harbor, and we're headed to the Statue of Liberty. Now we're going to pass directly in front of the statue twice, first on the right side of our ship and then do the same on the left. So no matter which side you're on, you're going to go right by it. And a reminder, it can be a little bit bumpier in the harbor, so do watch your footing, if you please, and do keep your feet on the deck for your safety. Now the Statue of Liberty up ahead of us is one of the highlights of the trip. So until we clear it, feel free to stand up anywhere on the ship you would like to do so, as long as you keep your feet on the deck. Please don't stand on the chair or sit up on the silver box. But do feel free to stand anywhere. For example, in the front cabin upstairs, the windowed areas around the stairways, you're free to stand there if you'd like, until we clear the statue. Ellis will be first. We're headed right for Ellis Island, and then the statue. We're in the harbor. And we're headed for Ellis and Liberty Island. Now, during our American Revolution back in the 1770s, a New Yorker, Sam Ellis, owned this island, coming up on the right-hand side. During the Revolution, Mr. Ellis was a very strong supporter of the King of Great Britain. And after the Revolution, Ellis cannot make a living. No one is going to do business with the Royalists. He's got to make some money. This island will be sold, and our government will buy it. For about a century, Ellis was a military base and converted to immigration in the year 1892. Now, the big building with the towers is up behind the lights. Most of Ellis is in the darkness. But the big building with the towers up there on the right is where you would spend your time. It's called Registry Hall. 6 or 7 hours of mental physical examination. Your chance of getting into this country was right around 98%. And the big building is now the American Museum of Immigration. We've got 32 other buildings on Ellis Island, and they're long set down. They're the old support buildings, the dormitories, the dining halls, staff quarters, and the hospitals. In our nation's early days, Ellis not the only guy with a private island out here. Isaac Bedloe's island is coming up, and it's got this statue on it. Ever since the Statue of Liberty was dedicated there in October of 1886, those folks have called it Liberty Island. Now, the year was 1800 when our government purchased Mr. Bedloe's island. The fortress there remains stone and star-shaped. And it remains because it now supports the weight of the pedestal and the statue. Now, the green statue itself is a gift of the people of France and the people of our country. It celebrates the association of our nations and our own revolution. About 4.5 years to build, and then it was brought here for dedication. The torch is solid. The 22-karat gold reflects light in the daytime, lighter than at night. And reflecting democracy, the clothing, Greece, that is the first democracy. So here is a road from Athens. There are 7 points on the crown above our head. The 7 seas of the world for which people came to get here. And the book in the near hand represents the laws of our country, such as our Constitution. Up ahead is one of the very few statues in the world that is simply dedicated to an idea. It's not a victory in a battle and not to glorify an individual. The statue is dedicated to freedom. And here comes the Statue of Liberty.
बहुत अच्छा व्यू है उनके समय से बहुत अच्छा है तो कुछ है ही नहीं
Venez là, mettez-vous là, regardez. Là, la photo de la vue que vous avez là. Oui, il a une batterie rechargeable.
Après, je laisse allumer au moins un quart d'heure. Et après, il y a de la...
Il a un truc qui charge rapidement.
Ouais, après, veux pas, je te demande l'endroit. Regarde, avant il y avait, tu vois, l'endroit là-bas. Regarde là, il y a l'endroit en fait.
Dehors, elle doit être Viens, viens, Stéphane, regarde, tu es où là? Elle peut mettre là, on va l'envoyer. C'est comme c'est beau là, elle peut même s'asseoir sur le rebord à côté. Ouais, il va doucement là. Après, il va tracer direct. Vous voyez comme c'est beau? Ça, c'est. On était au pied, cet après-midi, on était au pied de la tour Freedom Tower. Là, au bout, tu fais celle-ci. T'as mis flash, et tu vas dans flash. Ils sont venus voir, ça tu les as. Ils sont tous là. Ah putain, regarde, c'est tout là.
C'est un boss, comme
Ouais, ils ont présenté les derniers.
As we head away from the statue in the front cabin upstairs now, the window areas around the stairway. Step away from them, please. The crew cannot see through you. Listen, please. We're talking to the folks at the windows in the front cabin upstairs.
Allez, venez.
Please step away from the windows now, please. Thank you.
Now we'll clear Alice on the left. Seen behind the flag, the boogie building with a half moon light. That's River Street Hall. Now we're headed back to the Hudson River ahead of us. Again, Brooklyn on the far right, the lights of the Brooklyn Bridge at the end of the right on the east rim.
50 times.
Now we'll pass on our left to that old transport terminal.
वो मेरे मोबाइल I don't know. It's hard for me.
Multicolored.
Now the blue lights of South Cove are very romantic and wonderful. On our right, we're headed upriver now. We've entered the Hudson. We're headed for World Trade Center. Now we'll have a much different World Trade than we had before. It'll be exactly the same size, but fewer buildings, 5 and not 7. One big tower, not 2. Now the reason for the changes, nothing is going to be built where almost 3,000 people were killed. Ground Zero will remain open, a memorial to those who died. They come from 90 different countries. And their ages range from 85 years of age down to 2.5. So Tower 2 is not going to come back up at all. And we're approaching World Trade. And Tower 2, its original location, in front of the big buildings in the background. Now Tower 4 with the angled silver strip across the top. Tower 3 to the left of it is under construction. It will pop off at 80 floors very soon. Those buildings would have been out of your sight at all. You couldn't see them. Tower 2 would have been right in front. Now, on a typical day, over 15,000 people come to World Trade Center, the most visited spot in our country. Now we know the new Tower 1 is a terrorist target. For the very first time, we built a defense against that, called the blast wall. The bottom 18 floors of the new tower are a 3-foot solid wall of concrete and metal, and their concrete is poured 7 times stronger than normal. It's covered with that silver panel on the bottom of the big new tower. Again, that's called the blast wall. So here's World Trade on our immediate right-hand side. As we look up at the Empire State dressed in the colors of the city of New York, Walter Chrysler's silver metal tower, the tip of his lighting showing to the right up ahead of Empire, and the gold dome over on Madison Square. We go to the left of Empire to one of the towers of Times Square on the slanted rooftop, the Green Tower. The building partially visible to its right, flood red, or light colors, that's 30 Rock Government Center.
Which one?
Now we'll soon clear the landfill. I'm going to head to a part of town called Tribeca, which is short for the triangle streets below Canal Street. Downtown, this island of Manhattan, it's very narrow. As it does so, the streets on the waterfront angle in and disappear. They form triangles as they cross avenues, so Tribeca. And if you were to walk straight across the island here, you'd pass through Tribeca, then you'd come to Soho, south of Houston Street, nothing to do with London. Now, in the 1800s, Soho and Tribeca were the big factory districts. That's because the workers walk to work. They don't have enough money to take public transportation. They live in Chinatown, Little Italy, on the Lower East Side, right past Tribeca and Soho. And if your family income is 47 cents a week, which it was like in the 1860s, there you got to walk to work. Factories were over here. Now we're coming up towards the vents of the Holland Tunnel, and in New Jersey here on the left will be the big buildings of Jersey City, come to Hoboken, New Jersey. Now up in the Holland Tunnel is a street that comes into it called Houston Street. Soho is south of Houston Street. Houston is spelled exactly like the city in Texas. It's pronounced differently for a reason. In the late 1600s, if you were on your way from New York behind us to the town of Greenwich up ahead of us, that's a hard trip. It's probably going to take you all day. Up one hill and down the other. It's exhausting. In the middle of your trip, you're going to come to a broad valley. You can't miss it because it's the only one. And there's a row of houses there. We call it the house town in the valley. And stop there and rest the horses. There's restaurants there, get a bite to eat, and go on. Well, eventually, this island is paved over, and eventually the hills are gone, and the valley is no more. So right in the center of the old valley, we put a street to commemorate the old house town. The letter W is taken from the word town, the letter E out of the word house. Houston. Houston Street for the house town that used to be there in the valley. Texas was not around, Sam Houston hadn't been born, no computers in those days, but that's why it's not Houston Street yet. Houston Street. Big square building inland, right with the red lights up on top is over in Soho, off the front of the ship. Now, a couple of things about our own landing. Not now, but our landing. First of all, we're going to close off the stairways late in the trip as we approach the pier. Now, that's simply a safety factor. We do not expect to get a bump, but we have no seatbelts here. And if anything happened, we don't want you to be on the stairway. So if you'd like to use the stairway, think about it sooner rather than later. Then another thing about landings, the airplane on the Hudson River. Today marks 8 years, 3 months, 3 days since it happened. This is the 4th trip of the day, and there hasn't ever been a trip, believe it or not. Somebody asked me about that. Now, the pilot is not able to talk to any of us. He cannot tell us to get out of his way. We don't know what thing he's saying. He's on a completely different radio frequency. This is something that we drilled for, and it actually happened. A pilot in an airplane who has an emergency cannot talk to us. We've got to talk to traffic control. We'll talk to the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard talks to us. Now, the plane is in the air, a total of 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Everything happened very fast. If you were a passenger that day, we talked about what happened. You have no idea what was going on until the last moment. We'll talk about that just up here. We're alongside the village here on the right, and the old transport terminal in Hoboken, New Jersey. On the left, and we're headed for this town. Now again, the Empire is up ahead on our right, the big tall building with the orange is tip. Dressed in orange, white, and blue, the colors of the city of New York. The tip of Chrysler's silver tip down there to its right. Now, if you were a passenger with Circle Line and when the airplane came in January 15th, 2009, you had no idea what was going on, or did I? The pilot house heard everything. The drill was set in motion by 3 quick calls. The first one came at exactly 3:27 that afternoon. This is U.S. Coast Guard to all ships on the Hudson River. This is not a drill. This is an emergency. Aircraft southbound low over GW. Through the river, through the Hudson. Now. So what that means is 9 miles ahead of us, there's an airplane over the George Washington Bridge. It's quite low, it's coming at us. We may not see it, but it may land on the river. Now, the clear the river call is a very simple idea. You can do it if you drive a car. When you hear a siren, you pull over. Get to the edge of the river, that's what it means. Clear the center channel, the pilot's got it if he has to use it. Now, the Coast Guard is in a building. They don't see a thing. They're simply listening. On first call, any fireboat not fighting the fire is going to come out on the water. They're going to have to go to work. You will not hear from the fireboat unless he spots what's going on. So we'll have to translate the next call, which came seconds after the Coast Guard call. All ships on the Hudson. This is 343 at the dock. 42 in 3 minutes. All ships. 423. So what that means, this is fireboat 343 at the dock. Now we know who they are. They know where their dock is. We passed it. It's coming up. They're in Greenwich Village. They see the airplane. It will land on the river. What they're telling all of us, this airplane we think will land around 42nd Street, and we're headed for 42nd now. We'll be there in 3 minutes. Now that's too late. That number is important. We must know how many minutes until you get there. The airplane is going to sink in far less that time unless somebody helps. So, the last call from the Coast Guard alerted you as a passenger to circle line what was going on. Coast Guard to circle line, divert now, pump. So what that means is the drill is actually a reality. The fireboat can't be everywhere on the river in order to save an airplane. The fireboat was leaving the dock right over on our right where you see the white lights. It was out about where we are now, trending towards 42nd. And somebody's going to have to pump some water until the fireboat gets there. Circle line was designated by the Coast Guard to do that. We had to alert passengers. We're leaving the dock here. We've got to go out and pump some water. Came alongside the airplane. We're there for a few minutes until the fireboat arrives. We're not firemen here. We're pretty well trained. We have big pumps here. And it worked out very well. The airplane landed just about a mile and a half ahead of us, coming in this direction. So as we clear that fireboat station again, we're alongside the village, Greenwich Village here on our right-hand side. And again, the town of Hoboken will be alongside for a bit, over on the Jersey side. Now the gold dome on that building in Madison Square there, the world's tallest building in 1909 with the gold dome there. And the bright white lights, not beside us, but up ahead of us on the right, that's the golf driving range at Chelsea Piers. The slender towers of Times Square over the top of that. Now up in the distance, a little over 8 miles ahead of us, that is the big George Washington Bridge lights. And the airplane cleared the bridge by 100 meters, 300 feet. Landed just about a mile up ahead of us. Now that gold triangle rooftop of the old garden will drop behind the golf driving range, the gold 22-carat shingle rooftop. That's a little office building, the lighted building just past the white lights. The taller one just passes the apartment house. And again, the High Line has kind of revitalized this entire waterfront. Now, we used to be able to see the Empire State Building all the way along the waterfront. The Hudson Yards project up ahead will stop that. And we're coming now to the apartment houses just past the Chelsea Piers here on the waterfront, right? Empire is going to drop by behind that building with the elevator for your automobile with the dark windows. Apartment prices in Manhattan are near an all-time high now. Average price to buy any apartment on Manhattan last month, $1.9 million. One reason prices are high is rather obscure. An obvious reason would be you don't have to commute, you can walk. But we have an extraordinary number of millionaires who pay some sort of tax to the city. Now, the key is they don't all live here. They pay some sort of tax. They may have an apartment here, for example. We don't have last year. And if you're a citizen of this country, tomorrow is your last day to get your taxes in. But the year 2015, here's the number of millionaires who pay some sort of tax to the city of New York. 369,102. Now that's not a mistake. Over 369,000 different millionaires paid some sort of tax to the city of New York in the year 2015. Now we'll come past this old warehouse on the lights of the ship, and we'll come to the Hudson Yards project. Now the building with the slanted lighted rooftop is the first of 10 buildings that will come up in the Hudson Yards. That's not going to be the tallest of them. We'll have a big public park, as well as a shopping center and an art center. And again, the High Line, which has revitalized this area, is not used by the railways anymore, but it's a good reason why this is an unusual public park above the city, and it's revitalized this section of town. Now, the High Line is also a good history lesson. In the 1800s, the railway ran above the city, through the city. So in 1899, the city of New York stopped up ahead where the High Line stops. And we had countryside north of that. Times Square these days. That was in the country. That was up there about a half a mile north of town. Dirt roads north of town. What is now Times Square is where they sold carriages north of New York. Also, for the first time, we have a subway stop here. We've never had a subway on the waterfront, so that's revitalized transportation here. Now a note, when we clear the construction here on the right, we'll be about half a mile from our pier, and we'll shortly thereafter shut down the stairways for a little bit. There should be plenty of transportation when we come back in. 2 bus lines in the city conclude their run right in front of our ticket office. We have over 13,500 taxi cabs in town. Another 50,000 Uber something or other, but in any event, shouldn't be a problem for transportation. Now, the old hotel New Yorker, in Midtown here, it is illegal to have a lighted sign on the waterfront, but you can reach the waterfront from anywhere. That old hotel down 34th Street in the early 1900s, first lighted sign that we could see. And again, Empire down 34th, open till 2 in the morning, the observatory. Now again, the Twin Towers are not going to be built again downtown. The copy at the southwest corner of Central Park, it's in the darkness now, but the top floors are illuminated. About 65 degrees up to the right in the background against the sky. The silver lights on the top floors with the strips of darkness going through them. Now as we come in towards the pier, again there should be plenty of transportation. We're clearing the bow, and we'll shut down the stairways in just a few moments. I know over here that's the Lincoln Tunnel. Now, regards to those of you who asked about food and dinner thereafter, there's a very good restaurant near Circle Line called the Landmark Tavern, which is on 11th Avenue and 46th Street, just 4 blocks from our pier. Otherwise, you got to walk in towards Times Square. Now, we're making the turn towards the pier. We'll soon shut down the stairways, and then we'll be back in a moment.